When blockchain technology first arrived, as you know, it changed everything about how we think about trust. For the first time, we could verify transactions without intermediaries. That meant no banks, no brokers, and no middlemen. But as you also know, there's a paradox at the heart of this breakthrough. That same transparency that made blockchains trustworthy also makes them unusable for most everyday applications. Every wallet, every balance, every transaction, it's all public forever. And that's absolutely fine if you're a crypto native. But would a major company run payroll that way? Would a bank, a government, or an identity system ever operate in full public view? I don't think so. Transparency without confidentiality just doesn't work. And so we've reached a critical point. If blockchains are to power the next generation of finance, governance, and artificial intelligence, they need to be both verifiable and confidential. Right now, it's one or the other. It's either insecure but private, or private but unverifiable. And that trade-off is the single biggest barrier to adoption. And it's exactly the problem that Zama has set out to solve. At Zama, our mission is simple but ambitious, bringing confidentiality to public blockchains. Now, as most of you know, we aren't building a new blockchain. What we're doing is bringing a layer of confidentiality that sits on top of existing L1s and L2s. And we do this through something extraordinary called fully homomorphic encryption. That's FHE. FHE allows encrypted data to be computed on without ever needing to decrypt the data. This means that the blockchain can verify the logic without ever seeing the data itself. It's kind of like giving the chain X-ray vision. It can see the structure, but not the contents. So here's a simple way to think about FHE. Imagine you lock your data in a box. You then hand that box to the blockchain. The blockchain can shake the box, it can weigh the box, it can even run computations on the box, all without ever opening the box. And when it's done, it gives you back the box. You can unlock the box, but only you can see the result. That's the magic of FHE. It allows computation on encrypted data. It keeps the blockchain transparent about the mathematics, but blind to your information. So we can finally have a system that's both verifiable and confidential. Now, the first milestone was the ERC 7984 confidential token standard. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it works just like ERC 20, which means it's composable, it's interoperable, and it's easy for developers to use. But every balance and every transaction inside is encrypted. So you can still verify that everything is valid, but no one can read your data. And because it's composable with DeFi, confidential swaps and tokens can plug right into lending and staking, basically all the infrastructure that we currently have today. I like to call this confidentiality by default. It's not just privacy as a bolt-on. But the truth is that finance is just the starting point. We believe that eventually organizations and governments will move services on-chain. You can think everything from elections to identity systems to land registries. And as artificial intelligence and cloud computing become even more decentralized, they too will need confidentiality to protect the data that they process. So the vision is actually really simple. Everything that goes on-chain will eventually be encrypted. Finance first, then governance, then AI, all powered by confidentiality. Now, what sets Zama apart isn't just the technology, it's also our design philosophy. We don't require forks, bridges, or new protocols. Zama integrates directly on top of existing blockchains. And we deliver end-to-end encryption. The data and the smart contract stay encrypted at all times. As I mentioned before, it's composable, so public and private contracts can interact seamlessly. And it's cross-chain, so the encrypted data can move freely between networks. I like to think about it as Zama being HTTPS for blockchain. You remember how internet traffic went from around 10% to 95% encrypted between 2013 and 2023? Our goal is to do exactly the same for blockchain transactions, and we call this vision HTTPZ. So the truth is that FHE isn't just a mathematics problem anymore. It's actually becoming the foundation for the new phase of blockchain adoption. Now, earlier this evening, you had the opportunity to walk through our gallery of applications building on the Zama protocol, and I'd like to introduce you to a few of these in more detail. So we'll start with Zephyr. Zephyr is a clear demonstration of FHE in action. All confidential infrastructure can exist on Zephyr, both fully private and confidential by nature. Zephyr allows anyone to make any EVM token private and gives you the ability to use those tokens on existing applications. So that way, transactions are encrypted, but still verifiable by regulators. In my point of view, Zephyr shows that we can have both confidentiality and accountability, not one at the expense of the other. Let's look at DeBerry's. DeBerry's is the world's first truly confidential auction house. With DeBerry's, every bid is encrypted, so participants remain anonymous, and their strategies remain private, and yet the results are public and provably fair. So there's no sniping, no manipulation, just a level playing field. This is a revolution for art, collectibles, and any market where trust and discretion matter. Next, let's talk about Orion Finance, which is a confidential vault infrastructure for DeFi. Orion enables privacy-preserving portfolio management. This means that investors and funds can operate on-chain without exposing their positions or strategies. The logic remains transparent, the data remains private. It's a major step towards institutional-grade DeFi, and it allows a system which is both verifiable and encrypted. Now finally, I'd like to talk about Raycash. Raycash is a decentralized banking app that combines the best of both worlds. You get the control of crypto, the privacy of banks, and the usability of everyday money. Raycash gives you the ability to use fully confidential payments and balances with the simplicity, as you can see here, of a fintech app. This is what happens when confidentiality meets usability. You get banking without surveillance. So together, these four applications, Zephyr, DeBerry's, Orion, and Raycash, among many others, demonstrate that confidentiality is no longer theoretical. It's live, it's usable, and it's active today across finance, commerce, and everyday life. And yes, for those of you wondering, all of this scales. Zama's throughput has improved tenfold year after year since our founding. We have already surpassed Ethereum's base capacity, running at around 20 transactions per second per chain, and we're targeting 1,000 by the end of 2026. Eventually, with ASIC acceleration, we'll reach 100,000 transactions per second. That means that confidentiality no longer means slow. With the Zama protocol, confidentiality performs at scale. Now, as you might have heard, Zama is backed by Tier 1 investors. We've raised over $150 million to date at a $1.2 billion valuation. On top of that, our protocol operators secure over $100 billion in assets, and these include Fireblocks, Ledger, OpenZeppelin, Conduit, Stake Capital, and Figment. Our public testnet is now live, and the mainnet is coming soon. So this is not just an experiment. It's the foundation of a new layer of Web3. So now I want to talk a little bit about the Zama token. The Zama token is the utility token which powers the entire Zama protocol. It's what enables FHE to operate securely and sustainably on-chain. And there are two main use cases for the Zama token: protocol fees and staking. So first, every time an application encrypts or decrypts data, it pays a small fee, which is fixed in US dollars, but paid in Zama tokens. And what's important here is that 100% of those fees are burned. And second, the token enables staking, so operators can stake tokens to participate in the network and earn rewards. And the protocol mints new tokens to fund those rewards. So in essence, the Zama protocol creates a circular economy. Applications drive demand through usage, while staking ensures that the protocol remains decentralized and secure. So, the blockchain revolution started with transparency. We all know this. But the next chapter will be built on confidentiality. Because trust doesn't require exposure. Trust requires verifiability. And that's exactly what Zama provides. Systems that are verifiable and confidential. You know, confidentiality, it isn't the opposite of transparency. It's actually the evolution. Zama and its partners are building a world where confidentiality and verifiability can finally coexist. It's where users, institutions, and governments can operate with confidence. That's the future of blockchain, and that's what we're building at Zama. Thank you very much.